we talked about this a little bit, and we don't have to go into too much detail so nobody gets in trouble, but in looking at the replay of that first Toledo goal, too, it looked like they maybe had an icing that got waved off. I mentioned it live on the broadcast, but that does that sting going back and looking at something like that? It's out of your control now. It's over and done with. But in a one-goal defeat, when one goal potentially could have been an ice, looking back on an ifs and buts type scenario, is that tough to watch?
I mean, it's just unnecessary. I think if the referee's in the right position on the ice, he'll make the right call there, and this time he didn't. But I'm sure we'll get it coming our way at some point throughout the year. Usually it evens itself out over the course of 72 games. So, but obviously it stinks a little bit. It was a close game, and we could have used the right call at that point.
The plus side too that I've noticed the first two games is you seem to have a lot of guys that are willing to stick up for each other out there, which is obviously good to have a group of guys that work for each other and have that chemistry. A player got checked into the corner boards. Samuel Noro steps up and fights the player who checked him. You got to like seeing stuff like that when you have a bunch of players that are willing to jump in and help out when needed like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's huge. It's something we talked about before the season, and it was missing last year, and something we wanted this year. And I don't know if it was on this show we talked about it, but we talked about it somewhere anyways. And it's something that's huge, obviously. And our guys, and we haven't really had to do much, me and Al, in terms of that. The boys have kind of gelled together and came together as a group real nice, and we're very happy to see that.
And Vincent Dunn is still not a fighter. Or so he says, but that's 2 for 2.
2 for 2. No, Vinny, in terms of the physicality and the toughness and the intimidation factor, he's definitely done his job. But we got to keep in mind that there's a point to what he said there. He is also a good player and that produced and scored 30 goals at the junior level. So we want to see more of that out of him. We had a good talk with him this morning actually about that, and he's done his job, and he's put on a good show for everybody at the Ford Center so far. But we want to be able to lean on him a little bit more in terms of actually playing the game, because he does have those capabilities as well.
Now, do you guys lock him in a cage, or do you guys starve him before hockey games to make him that angry?
He's in my closet. He lives in my closet. We poke him with a stick.
I'm glad you mentioned his point production at the junior level, though, because he, as much as we joke about it, he really can put up points, and he's clearly won both of his fights. I don't think they've been close, especially on Saturday. I don't think the guy that he fought really stood much of a chance, but he put up big numbers at the junior level in a very good league for a very good team. And that speaks volumes, and I think that's why Ottawa invested a 5th-round pick in him a couple years ago. And Binghamton likes what they see as well, and I'm sure he's one of those guys that if he plays well here, then he'll get another chance up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the reason he's down here. I mean, he's proved to everybody here and in Binghamton and Ottawa that he can get the job done in terms of throwing his weight around and fighting and all that stuff. He's never going to shy away from that. But he's down here for a reason. It's because he needs to improve on his game and become a better hockey player. So we want to make sure that he works on that every day, that his practice habits are good, and that he turns into a full-blown pro and that he's ready to go when they call him up. So he's got ways to go, but he's been very good. He's working hard every day in practice, and he's getting better. But I think he wanted to make an impression on everybody early too, and he certainly has. So we want to make sure that his focus is on playing the game along with the physicality.
So now after this weekend, I know you guys are probably focusing on on the things you need to improve on. But at the same time, what are some things that you maybe have seen from Greenville or South Carolina that you're trying to get ready for this coming weekend?
Me and Al sat down and watched them play here their last 2-3 games we've watched, and I think there's definitely 2 teams that are very beatable. Is that a word? Beatable?
Yep,
beatable.
That is a word.
Yep. 2 teams that we should beat, in my opinion, based on from what I've seen. South Carolina is far from the team they were in past years. Greenville looks like a team we should be able to beat as well. I think with our speed and like I said, if we can play the way we can play and want to play over the course of 60 minutes, we'll win both those games. So I think especially South Carolina, based on what we saw so far, should suit us pretty well with the strong skating club that we have.
In talking about, and it's so early that it's tough to tell, but the teams you played versus the type of seasons Greenville and South Carolina have started. I mean, they haven't really gotten off to the best start either. You put up 39 shots on a team like Greenville or South Carolina. Are you fairly confident that if you keep playing that game that you played the first two, even though they were losses, that you can beat pretty much anybody?
Yeah, I think so. I'm convinced that we have a team that's good enough today to compete in this league and be a top team in this league. But we got to get to the point where we get production from a lot of guys. It's not one or two guys right now that aren't producing. There's more than a handful that should be producing right now. But I'm confident that we're going to get there. Like you said, we're putting the pucks there. We just got to bang them home. So if we continue playing the way we're playing, get a little bit desperate. With every loss, we get more desperate. So there's going to be two desperate teams that face off in Greenville. So it'll be real interesting to see.
Here's a goalie question because, I like my goalie questions. Anyways, going into this weekend, you got Grinham. Grinham's been playing phenomenal. He has 2.04 goals against. He has a 92% save percentage. Are you guys going to ride him out this weekend, or are you guys going to give one of the other boys a chance?
Well, Greeny, first off, done a phenomenal job for us. He's given us a chance to win every game so far. So we'll go with Greeny. I'm sure as long as he's hot. But at the same time, Bengtsburg's look real good in practice. He will get his shot, whether it's one of the two games on the road here this weekend or if it's on Wednesday. We'll see. But he's due to start a game here very shortly. So my guess is he'll get a start within the next 3 games.
Personnel-wise, let's continue on that theme and talk about a few more guys. Sebastian Strandberg made his first career start over here on Saturday, and I thought his game improved as the game went along. He gained some confidence and had a strong third period especially. But what did you see out of him in his first time out there in a game that counts?
No, we were very happy with him. From a guy that's went from the stands to being the 10th forward to begin the game to playing on the top line by the end of the game. He definitely did what we wanted him to do and prove to himself and us that we did the right thing bringing him over here. So no, he's got a lot of speed, just like everybody else on our team. He's got a unique creativity in the way he moves out there. He's a little bit different from a lot of other guys on our team, which we like. So I think he's going to be a very interesting player down the road here to watch, and I think he'll be a real good player for us.
Another situation that we brought up earlier in the show already was Chris Carlisle getting called up to Binghamton. You guys mentioned that you kind of expected him to be the first one, and obviously we expect there'll be a few more throughout the year, but what things did he do well while he was here, obviously aside from the 2 assists, and now who do you expect to step up and try to fill his shoes? You have a plethora of defensemen to go with now with 8 guys still here in Evansville.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Chris did a great job for us, obviously. He put some points on the board and he played solid in his own end and, really did what he was here to do. So very happy for him to get the chance to go back up there and try to establish himself up there. I'm sure he's got a bright future ahead of him there. Hopefully we won't see him down here again for his sake. But, like you said, we have hungry guys waiting. We have, Chris Rumble, that's a phenomenal defenseman. Hello? Yeah.
We're good.
We got Rumble that hasn't played a game yet. And, he's probably going to get his chance to play.
This is the first time this has happened since week 1, I think.
Yeah.
Are you good?
We go. I think we're good. We'll try it again.
The cords have bundled up or something?
Yeah. Now, Chris Rumble, he's similar to Chris Carlisle in the way he plays and should be able to fill those shoes well. You got Mike Trebuch that hasn't played a game yet either. Both guys are chomping at the bit to get in there, so I'm sure either one can step in and do a good job. A little bit different in the way they play the game, so depending on the game we're up, or the team we're up against there, or what kind of a game we want to play is going to determine who we're going to put in there. But we have plenty of good guys. That's the one thing we said, that we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be hurt if someone went up. And we had 9 guys, now we have 8, so there's still going to be healthy bodies in the stands and motivated guys that want to get in and get the job done when their chance comes.
So it's something we haven't really talked about here, but you sort of mentioned it to me a little bit when the field came into town. Some goalie named like Shane Owen. I guess he's related to you now.
No, definitely not.
Is he dating someone?
Yeah, he's dating my wife's sister.
So does that make it like your future brother-in-law?
Not as long as he's with the fuel, no.
This turned quickly.
Yeah.
That was out of left field.
I have secrets. I want to share them.
Wow, that was a good one. I had no idea. See, I don't know this type of information. That's where I'm out of the loop. So I'm glad we have you here to go to a lighter note. Hey, what's that?
I said all the skeletons are out now. So.
All the skeletons are out of the closet. I highly doubt that, but we'll leave it at that. So Greenville is Halloween. The game was moved up for everyone. I'm sure everyone knows by now, but it was a 6 o'clock start Evansville time. Now it's 2 o'clock Evansville time. So we'll have the broadcast and everything for the folks on ECHL and EvansvilleIcemen.com. One thing about Greenville, their first home game I think was Friday against South Carolina. I want to make sure I have my facts straight on this. But all the fans had carrots. I don't know if people heard this story. Some of you are laughing already. And I think the plan was for the fans to throw the carrots onto the ice after the game, but kind of like the Red Wings fans do with octopus. They throw it on the ice. Well, after their first goal on Friday night, everyone throws the carrots on the ice. And I saw a picture of it, and it looked like that probably delayed the game a long time to clean up, because it's different picking up chuck-a-pucks and things like that than it is actual carrots that are smashed to bits and everything. Someone forgot to relay the fans the memo, but hopefully for you guys, I guess not a great transition into a question, but hopefully there are no carrots thrown on the ice if we can get a goose egg out there in Greenville.
Yeah, no, let's hope for no carrots.
Did you hear that story, I guess?
Yeah, I watched the game.
You did hear that?
I did watch the game. I saw the carrots. So,
Are my facts right on that?
Yeah, your facts are right. So we want to get in. We want to get our points. We're going to get on the bus and go to South Carolina and not be delayed by
Did you guys
carrots.
have to fast forward for like 20 minutes past the cleanup part to the next point where you could actually coach and look at the actual film?
I watched it live, so unfortunately I could not.
That's right. That was Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We didn't have a game Friday night.
No.
And then South Carolina, you kind of mentioned a little bit, they've fallen from where they were last year. They made it all the way to the finals, falling in 7 games to the Allen Americans. And as we said, I mean, it's still early and anything can happen. They can turn it around and have another good year. But what do you see out of their game tape that maybe makes you think that this is what we can take advantage of, or something that helped you in preparations for South Carolina on Sunday?
Well, first of all, there's 2 teams that have struggled scoring in their first couple of games. They didn't score a single goal in all of preseason, and they've struggled in the first couple of regular season games here to score goals. So, one of the 2 teams are going to break out and start scoring some goals in that game, and hopefully that will be us. But it's a team that to me looked like they struggled a little bit managing the puck on the back end under pressure. We're quick and we're hungry and relentless on our forecheck, so I think we can get on top of their defensemen and make it a tough night for them. They're going to cough up the puck and we can capitalize on that. That was the one thing that stood out the most. The goaltending looked a little bit questionable in the games I've watched so far. So hopefully we can make it a rough night on them as well.
I know one thing is I definitely got to give applause on, and I know definitely Toledo. They played 2 games in 2 nights. And they got home, here late. But I definitely could say our team is a better conditioned team. It seems like we had the legs, and they were just dead in the third period. Is that so? That kudos to you guys. That's not a question. That's sort of a compliment.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you. No, we made it a point this year. I mean, we want to take care of everything that we can control out there leading into the games, and conditioning is one thing that we can control. There's enough things that can go wrong over the course of 60 minutes. So the things that we can control in terms of how we prepare the boys for the games, we want to make sure that we have all that covered. And conditioning is not going to be an issue all year because we can make damn sure that they're in shape, and they will be. Just look at Daultan over there.
What can you tell us about Leveille before we bring him on? Any skeletons in his closet we can?
No skeletons. No, he's just a little quiet, a little too quiet. Eh?
He's a good guy.
I'm sure he's hiding
a good guy,
something.
yeah.
No,
Who said that? Let's open it up to questions for assistant coach Johan Lundskog here on EvansvilleIcemen.com and at Beefo Brady and Newburgh. Yes. And I'll repeat it for our listeners too.
Did you say a while ago that if people get called up from our team and they go to Binghamton or from there they go to Ottawa or whatever, that we're still going to be able to handle ourselves? Are we going to fall flat on our face when they get called up?
If I understand the question, it's about our depth. If guys get called up, do we have guys that can step in and replace them?
Yeah, no, that's like I said. That's one thing that we wanted to make sure this year that we weren't going to be hurt too bad if guys went up. So now when Chris went up today, we had 9 defensemen before he left. We still have 8. We only dressed 6, so we do have depth there and we have quality. We don't just have guys here that can numbers wise fill in. We have quality guys that normally should be playing and can step in and produce right away. So that's something we have in every position. We have 3 goalies. Should Greenham get called up, we have IceMen that we traded for from Orlando here to fill in. Same up top on forwards. We have plenty of guys, and that's one thing that we wanted to make sure. But you can never protect yourself, completely. I mean, they could call tomorrow and bring up 5 guys, and okay, then we have an issue. But that shouldn't happen. As long as it's 1, 2, 3 guys at a time. We have enough depth to handle that without going out and acquiring new guys.
With that being said, I heard Daultan's playing defense this weekend.
Good luck.
Any other questions? Way back there. Yes.
We're going to the games this weekend. Wave to us.
If I see you, I will wave. Yeah, make yourself heard, and I promise I'm going to wave to you.
I love it. You guys are going to the games?
Just throw a carrot at us, and we'll know where you're at.
How many people are going to Greenville or South Carolina? There we go. Awesome. It'll be
Thank
great
you.
to see some IceMen colors out there.
Yeah.
The Carolinas. This is a good 8-hour trip.
I'm not sure.
I believe so. I know we're taking the sleeper bus,
Yep.
which is good.
Yeah.
6 hours.
6 hours
We went
in a car? How fast are we driving?
He drives like a grandma, let me tell you.
Okay, so 6 hours if you're taking your time.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have for assistant coach Johan Lundskog? Yes.
Everybody has a kind of a player that you watch. What do you think about Matthew Zay?
Question is Matthew Zay, and what is your opinion on his play?
I really like Matt. He plays with a lot of energy. He's a wicked skater. He's creating a lot of chances. He had 8 shots on net last game. Hoping that he's going to start putting those chances away. He had a breakaway. I think both games. I think he had a breakaway and didn't capitalize on them. So, but I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for us. Once he gets confident and comfortable at this level, I think he's going to be real good for us. He's very exciting. He's young. He's hungry. He's eager. He listens. He wants to learn. He asks questions. You can't ask for anything more from a first-year pro.
So Daultan, are you going to work on Matt Zay on his breakaways this week?
Me? Yeah.
I can't do it for him.
He can't do his breakaways for him. Yeah, you're right about that. And one thing we spoke about today, Johan, that obviously off air was how Matt Zay. What I really like about him is he never stops playing the game, and he took a really nasty check into the corner boards, the one that Samuel Noro stepped up and fought the guy for. And Matt Zay gets right back to his skates, turns around and tries to throw a shot on net after the whistle. I mean, he didn't know the whistle had blown, but he gets back up and he didn't quit on the play. He tried to score a goal anyways, while his teammate Noro stepped in to take care of business. I like that about Matt Zay's game.
Yeah, I think he was a little dazed and confused after that. Yeah, no, he's a good player and great kid, and he's kind of a representation of the entire group we have this year. They're all young, they're all hungry, they're eager, they want to learn, they want to get better, and they want to turn this ship around. So it's a very easy group to deal with so far. Like I said, everything from them coming together as a group and sticking up for each other and stuff like that, and then to the hockey part of things, they all listen, they all want to learn. There's no egos there. They all have different reasons for being here or different motivations from being here. But we have young guys, old guys, and they're all very hungry, very eager, and it's exciting.
Questions for Coach Lundskog? Yes.
I'm going to ask this for everybody, okay? I got
guys not stay out on the ice after the game and roll up their sticks. The fans like for them to do that, and they didn't. Well, Huzzy did. He's the only one that did.
The question was on the post-game salute and why there wasn't one.
Yeah, there was a meeting about that actually today before we found out that that you guys have brought it up as well. Daultan was in that meeting, I believe, but the players brought it up, the captains brought it up. It's simply the fact that we have a lot of guys that are new and that aren't used to that and weren't aware. We didn't make them aware from a coaching standpoint. I didn't do that with the teams I've been prior. I know that a lot of teams do it. Everybody's seen it done in the NHL and at every level. But that's nothing that we told the guys that they should do. Maybe a mistake on our part, me and Al. But Hussey and Lucan brought it up today in a meeting with the guys, and that's obviously something that they want to do. So there's no disrespect or anything like that from the boys. I think obviously they were upset that they lost. Wanted to get out of there. They also had the jersey auction, and there was guys going up outside to sign autographs and stuff like that. Really no good excuses for it, but it was addressed today, and I'm sure it's not going to happen again.
Trying to use those excuses for the guy.
Yeah.
They didn't like that either.
But thanks for bringing that up too. I mean, I'm glad he brought that up, and we could address it here on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then, when you have a player that gets an extended, a major or fighting line or a major really close to when the end of the period happens, what do you have them do to make sure they stay good and warm, even though they're probably going to be out off the ice?
It's a good question.
For 15 minutes?
The question was, when a player gets into a fight late in the period like Noro did, under 5 minutes, they have to go right to the locker room. They miss, obviously, 15, 20 minutes during the intermission. How do you keep them warm and ready to go back out there when they're eligible to?
I mean, that responsibility runs a bit.
Responsibility runs a little bit with.
Responsibility falls on the player himself to go in there and make sure. I mean, they're all pros. They know what they need to do to be ready to go when the time comes. But yeah, I mean, some of them, if it's a longer time, they might go in. But I mean, we have everything from bikes to gym equipments and all that stuff in the room. So if they need to do something to stay warm, they will when they get in there. But it's nothing that we police as a coaching staff. That responsibility will fall on the player himself to go in there and do what he needs to do to be ready to go.
Daultan Leveille, get up here. Daultan Leveille.
First off, we have to ask Daultan, how was that Michigan State win the other night against Michigan? Did that feel good?
Talking about football, right?
Talk about football.
Yeah, it's really good to see that. Like I always cheer for the Michigan State Spartans, and to see them actually pull that off was really exciting. A lot of Michigan fans I even saw on Facebook and Twitter posting about it, how they beat us before it was over, and they didn't wait till the end of the game, and that kind of was their own fault.
Daultan, did you hear that there was a news report in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that said the Wolverines won that game, assuming that ended up being the case? The guy went on the air, they did the news, and the guy reported it as if Michigan won the game, not even paying attention to the fact that it changed.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, a lot of people posted that, and like I said, it's just one of those things that people always say that they have the bigger ego of the two schools, and comes back, and I guess some good karma happens, so Michigan State comes out with a win.
While we're talking about this, a lot of people who don't know that Daultan was a Michigan State graduate, played he was a Spartan, played there. Now, were you on the team that won the national title, or was that before you?
Right before me. I came in the year after, so I did not get to experience that. Thank you.
Well, welcome back to Evansville.
Thank you.
1 year away from us, but I know a lot of these fans are glad to have you back. Thank you for clapping there. Otherwise, the awkward silence. But you were over in France last year, and I'm sure a much different game to get accustomed to, but what was the biggest change for you at spending that year overseas in France?
I think the biggest difference is going from the NHL-sized ice to Olympic ice. It almost takes half a year to get used to it. I get used to it, and now I'm back on smaller ice, so a little bit of time adjustment because it's a different game. You have a lot more puck possession over there because you can't really chase people on the bigger ice surface. Otherwise, it's a lot more offense and stuff. So I think the biggest thing is, like I said, just getting used to the ice again and getting used to the style game.
What was the decision like in going there in the first place, but also coming back after last season to play over here again?
I think part of the decision was just need a year away, less stressful, don't have to worry about certain things. And then I think when I was over there, I didn't feel like I was fulfilled enough, and I wanted to come back and compete to work my way up in the system. And I got the chance with Binghamton to sign with them, so I'm happy for opportunity and just work my way back up.
And it just so happened that Binghamton's our affiliate, and here you are. But what was that like? I know I talked to Penny about this and a couple of the other guys that were at camp with Binghamton. What things that you learned there while you were there to continue to make you a better hockey player, because you still have obviously a lot of your career left to play?
It's just learning how to play in all situations. A lot of the times you might think yourself as a top two-line guy, but to get that opportunity right away is hard to do. So you have to be able to play those fourth, third-line roles. So when you do get the chance, you can play any situation wherever the team needs you to play.
So you've had the opportunity to play with Hussey a little bit. How's the two of you guys bonding a little bit? Do you make fun of him for being a little like the grandfather of the team at all, or do you tease him at all for that?
I don't, because I know I'm going to be older eventually too. We have some young guys, and I think they're the ones that really poke fun at him. But no, Huss is great. Like, he's a great leader for the team. He's very experienced. He's been around in several different leagues. So I think having a guy like that with this young core is, really essential to having our team really come together, because a lot of guys can learn a lot from him, and I think it's just great having him around.
Having spent almost a full season, pretty much a full season here 2 years ago, what did you miss most about Evansville? Was it a favorite food, favorite place to be, favorite thing to do outside of the rink, or what did you miss most?
Like I said to a lot of the games, and even in one interview before the season started, I said one of the greatest parts about Evansville is the fans in the rink. It's better than half the American League teams I've seen. It's better than everywhere I've been. To have a fan base of 7,000+ some games is incredible. So.
Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause, because we are currently 6th in the league in attendance out of 28 teams in average attendance for 2 games. So great crowds the first 2 nights. Hope you enjoyed the Back to the Future spin. I know you guys got to wear those specialty jerseys.
They were interesting, yeah. I think that's one of the things about being in this league is you come across some interesting jerseys. So, but I think they actually looked good. I mean, I've worn worse.
They didn't have any DeLoreans on any jerseys over in France?
No, just a lot of advertisements. I mean, more advertisements than jerseys, so had to get used to that.
What was your favorite part of France, spending a full year over there? Because I know a lot of, tour. Yeah, was that girls? Did I hear that right? You can answer that one.
My girl was with me, so.
Bad luck.
But as far, I know for tourists, there are certain things you want to see when you go to France. But when you're a hockey player and you're working all the time, you're at the rink. Did you have much time to get out and experience the country?
Actually, we did. The way they have their schedule set up is you have 3 breaks throughout the season where you get pretty much a week off each time. When the national team's playing, you get time to travel. So, we got to go on 3 different trips whenever we had the breaks, and I got to experience a lot of it. Really try to see as much as we could, because, I didn't know if I was going to be back over there. So while you're over there, you might as well do as much as you can. So, it was a great life experience. Got to see a lot of interesting places and, really take in their style of life. So I really enjoyed that.
So I got to ask, because I'm a huge hockey nerd and I'm kind of a stat guy. So drafted in the first round, very few players get to say that. Back in 2008, were you at the draft? Where was it? What was the experience like? I know a lot of people bring their families there. Did you have an idea you were going to be drafted that early?
Yes and no. That whole year was kind of real whirlwind of. At first, my goal at the start of the season was to try to get to a Division I university, and then it all kind of happened pretty quick. As it went on, I knew what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be first or second round or even later, but we had a good idea. My family was with me, and it was actually in Ottawa, so it's funny to be back there kind of again this summer. It was a crazy experience. Had no idea. It was one of the most trades in the first round I've ever been, so I think by the time I was called, I was sleeping in the stands almost. But I was drafted by Atlanta, a team that no longer exists, and I really didn't get a chance
It
with that.
exists, just on the north side of the border.
A different team now.
Did they call you then ahead of time? I mean, did the GM or the coach call you and say, Daultan, we're going to take you here at 29 overall in the first round? Is that how it worked? Or did you just sit there watching and then you hear your name called?
There was 2 teams that I thought I was going to go to before Atlanta who both traded their picks away. So that's where I thought I was going, but when they traded their picks, I had no idea. So kind of a shock to me.
So we got to talk a little bit of hockey, but then I know Brian's the man who can pull out some interesting personal questions, as we saw in the last interview. How have you felt in the first 2 games? I know we can all pretty much agree that you guys felt like you outplayed them. You definitely outshot them. Can't debate that. That's on the stat sheet. But you personally, how'd you feel in the first 2 games?
I felt good. I think our team felt good, but sadly, feeling good about a game doesn't give you a win. So I think the biggest thing is just playing the way we did in the third period throughout the entire game, because everyone watches the game, and in the third period we absolutely dominated them. So I think just being able to transition that into a whole 60 minutes can really turn things around. I think we have an incredible team, and it's just a bit of a learning curve. A lot of first-year guys that really are just getting a feel for things. So I think if we really just bear down and focus, and it's going to be one of those things that once the first 1 or 2 go in and guys start getting the confidence, we'll be able to get that rolling and hopefully turn this thing around.
2 years ago, you guys had this rivalry going on between college guys and junior kids. Is that rivalry back, and are you going to have to teach some of these junior boys some educational stuff before Education Day?
I think that's one thing that never goes away. I think it always comes down to wherever someone played, they believe it's the best league in the world, and that's where all the best players come from. So I think you'll see it for longer than I'll be playing hockey, even that there'll always be that rivalry, and you get used to being around certain guys and their lifestyle. So it's always an interesting mix, when you have a guy that went to college living with a guy that played major junior who maybe had billets making them lunch. Sometimes you have to become almost the mom of the group, so it's always an interesting scenario. But I think everyone's has a good time with it, and really enjoys just having a good mix.
So with that same sort of being the mom of the group, who are you living with right now, and are you have to be doing their laundry or cooking for them?
Right now I'm with Zay and Zarbo.
Both college guys, so 3 college guys.
Yeah, 2 rookies. We do our laundry, but we're still waiting for the dryers and washers.
Oh.
Yeah, but no, they're great. They both were college guys, and we get along well. We kind of know it's one of those things that you keep your place tidy, otherwise it can get out of hand real quick. But I do police it a little bit. I always give them a hard time when I ask them, whose dish is sitting there in the sink, because it's not going to wash itself before night. But they've been really good about it. I like to keep a clean place, and I think they do in the end. So, we get along great. We're having a great time, and hopefully we can just turn all that, good mojo onto the ice and keep things going.
Speaking of the college junior rivalry, for our golf tournament a week or so ago, you guys did that, didn't you? I heard Himmelson, who's a college guy, talking about making that rivalry when we went out on the course. But who ended up winning that? I never heard.
I don't even know. I think we started just having a good time and everyone forgot about it. I have no idea who won it.
Not the college guys.
Not the college. Are you a junior guy or a college guy?
Junior guy.
You're a junior guy. But you golfed with Zarbo, who was a college guy.
Someone had to carry him around.
Someone had to carry him around.
They also were giving us a handicap by even giving Zarbo the wrong-handed clubs, I heard. So I don't know if it was a fair game, but we'll let them have it for now.
Should we open it up to questions here for Daultan Leveille? Back in an Evansville IceMen uniform? I know we've got some questions out there.
They were probably asked 2 years ago, so.
Yes?
How big an honor is it to wear a letter on your jersey on the road?
How big of an honor is it to wear a letter on your jersey on the road?
It's a huge honor. Being part of this organization, I've been here before. I know what it's like, and like I said before, just being able to have this fan base behind us, I try to explain to every single guy. And when you guys just mentioned about saluting the fans, that was one thing that we actually do take to heart. And sometimes, whatever team players come from, a lot of them might not have, teams have 20 fans and they don't do that after a game, but that's one thing we've really addressed is, respecting the fans that respect us. They come to the games, they take time out of their lives to, whether it be drive all the way to Greenville or wherever we're playing and support us. So I try to get across to those guys that, our fans are everything, so just give them the respect, and that won't happen again, that's for sure.
One thing to talk about as well, so you were here 2 years ago. You guys started off fast. You guys were a first place team. Then the wheels on the bus fell off. What is different about the atmosphere of this team that you guys believe that you guys are going to be going for a lot bigger things?
I think how well everyone gets along really can drive a team far into a year. And that's one thing that I noticed here from day one is everyone's enjoying everyone's company. Everyone gets along great. Where 2 years ago, I don't think we had the same group that we do now. And like I said, we've been close on 2 occasions, and it's just a matter of finishing those games. So I think we can really, use that to our advantage, and we're going to really push things and turn this around, and hopefully, get to first place and stay there.
And in reality, there's 70 more games, so two games doesn't make a season, and so you guys are plenty of time to turn things around, including this weekend. Well, what else do we have for Daultan Leveille?
Just don't make it happen.
Don't make it a habit.
Absolutely.
Did you get a chance to watch any film, either of your guys' first 2 games or of Greenville or South Carolina that maybe sparked something in your mind as far as preparations go this week?
I think our biggest preparation, even as a group that we've been looking at, is just bearing down and finishing opportunities. Like you mentioned, how many shots we have, and you're 1 shot away from a tie in the game and 2 away from winning it. So the biggest thing is we're all focusing on trying to put the puck in the net, not around it or into the goalie's chest. So we're really focusing in practice on, bearing down and scoring on those and making it harder even for our goalies in practice.
Yes. Aaron.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have pointed at you. There you go.
Now, what do you think the biggest difference between the team you were on 2 years ago versus the guys you're with now?
The biggest difference between the team you played on 2 years ago and this team?
I think experience, that's one thing. Like we had a much older group there where, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 first-year guys, where coming in here it's kind of the opposite, where we have a lot younger group. And I think it's just experience. Like it's a different game than major, junior, or college. And I think some guys just need to feel it out and get a couple games under their belt, get their confidence, and then after a couple of games, you kind of are no longer a rookie. It's just a matter of understanding the game and how the speed changes, the quickness you need to make decisions, and I think that's the biggest difference, I'd say, between the 2 years.
And do you feel like one of those older guys versus?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm kind of right in the middle. I can relate with the older guys, and I can relate with the younger guys because I was there, a couple of years ago. And that's the good thing is I can experience both of them, and I can talk with the older guys maybe where they might understand where a first-year guy's coming from or vice versa. And being that guy in the middle is really, handy to have. So I think I'm just trying to help everyone out and show them the ways.
And while you were over in France, how much fun did they have with your last name there? Or did they actually have it right?
I was going to ask him that. The question was, how much fun did they have with your name being French-Canadian last name over in France?
Oh, they had a great time. They pronounced it perfectly, but then when they tried talking to me in French, it was a different story.
You can't speak any French?
Nope. So that was a real big shock for them is when they started talking to me, and then after a 5-minute conversation, I had to tell them I don't speak French.
So does Dunn and Noro, does Noro speak French too, being from Montreal?
He does, yeah.
Dunn and Noro and D.U. Dave Fauvel, did those guys ever mess with you?
Well, they actually learned pretty quick that after my year there, I can understand a lot of it now. Talking it's a bit harder. So they tested me earlier on to see if I understood what they were saying, and when I called them out on their conversation, they said, oh, okay, we just got to be careful what we say because he understands.
Going off of one of Aaron's questions about feeling like one of the older guys, I think that's worth mentioning. you've played professional hockey long enough where you could be quote unquote one of the older guys, but you're only 25. And like I said earlier, I mean, obviously you have a lot left in your hockey career. Is it kind of weird feeling like a vet when really you're a pretty young guy?
Absolutely, and that was a big thing. Even like from last year, I went somewhere and I was second youngest on the team, where average age was 32, and then now coming back here and I'm kind of smack dab in the middle. It's really, a big adjustment, but like I said, it's one of those things. We have a lot of young players who are hungry. No one likes losing, and that's one thing is they want to turn this around. They knew how it was last year, and I followed the team last year, and I wasn't even happy just watching it from abroad. So it's good to be back here, and I want to have it the way it was 2 years ago to the start. So hopefully we can do that, and give the fans kind of what they deserve and want.
All right, so now we get a little personal questions on you. So what is the Netflix that is going on right now? What were the shows are you guys watching in the apartments?
I think we all kind of have our own shows that we enjoy. Obviously, we watch a lot of sports, but for me, the big thing is I've been hooked on Criminal Minds, so I've been spending a lot of time watching that show.
Also, since you got the three of you guys all together, training camp's over, so no more meals, but have you guys prepared a meal, or who's the cook?
I think that's the one thing that we're kind of lucky with, all being college guys and spending 4 years there. We've all learned to cook.
So ramen noodles?
No. Actually, believe it or not, we don't even have a microwave. We talked about getting one, and we're like, it's probably better off that we don't even use one. So we're all good cooks. We all know what we're doing in the kitchen. So I think we got lucky in that way, because sometimes you are living with some people that, will eat Kraft dinner or mac and cheese every single day.
Or Chipotle every day?
Yep.
That's what I'd be doing.
That's not a bad thing to do, but...
That's why I'm not a pro athlete, though. Anything else for Daultan Leveille? By the way, my first show ever, I butchered your name, and thankfully so many people remember how to pronounce it. So
I don't even correct
real
people
quick
anymore, so it's wrong all the time that I kind of just, whatever someone says, if it's close enough, I'll listen.
Anything else? Thanks, Daultan. Appreciate it. Let's hear it for Daultan Leveille.
All right.